Well, welcome to another edition of Otaku Thursday. It is 1 week before Halloween. We're on the march to the holidays of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. We're headed for 2025. We have an election around the corner. But thank you for clicking on this video. You know, what we're going to discuss here is some anime and manga, some otaku stuff. Yeah, really do appreciate that you're clicking on this. And this will be on every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on this social media platform, whether it's YouTube or Rumble. You may be able to see it later on Odyssey. And we do apologize with what's been going on with BitChute. We're still trying to resolve that situation. Hopefully, we'll be back online with BitChute very soon. But once again, thank you for those who have subscribed, like, and share our product, and even commented. We really do appreciate that. So let's get on with it, with what's going on right now. Let's go get into a little bit of anime right now. But we want to start off with this. We want to start off really straight off the bat with this. Now, right now, Pluto has been at Pluto TV, if you know the streaming service very well, owned by Paramount. Basically, they've been adding a lot of new channels. And even, you know, they have a couple of anime ones. But a major classic anime is finally getting their own fast channel, which is about time. Since the end of his arc, basically we've moved on to new players in this anime itself after so many years, so many challenges. If you haven't guessed yet, Pokemon has gotten its own 24/7 fast streaming channel. Yes, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to see Pokemon 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can catch it on Pluto. This is exciting for those who love the Pokemon and those who are just starting out with it. This will give you a chance to watch some of this great anime that, you know, you have to remember one thing about this. Besides, you know, Pokemon, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, and many others, was the next level after Toonami began. Because, you know, you had the 4Kids, which, yes, there was a lot of censorship going on. You also had the Fox Kids as well that promoted a lot of these shows. Unfortunately, network television, because of the changes that our own government made and rules and regulations, kind of kicked off a lot of those cartoons to cable and now to streaming as well. But, you know, now you're starting to see a pushback to bring back a lot of the classic stuff back to streaming, and hopefully maybe it'll end up back on linear television, since we have a MeTV Tunes channel now available on free linear television out there. Or, you know, you could pay a couple bucks and get it on, if you don't have it in your area, on Friendly, and I believe Sling also has it as well. But, you know, it is great to see some of this stuff back on there. You know, I grew up with a lot of this stuff. You have to remember, I've always said this. My anime fix started in the late 1970s on a channel, 47 WJNU on the weekends when it shared. It sold programming time, similar to like when they used to do those infomercials where they used to sell programming time on UHF channels to other networks. And basically the Spanish network NJU sold some of its time slot to Nippon Television. And we got to see stuff like Iku-san, Cyborg 009. We got to see Galaxy Express. We have, you know, Galaxy Express returning to print. We got a story on that later on today. But, you know, when I was watching it in the 70s, then you got into the 80s and the movies that were coming out and the series, Akira, Ghost in the Shell. Then we got into the Toonami era. You know, I saw Dragon Ball, the original, before Dragon Ball Z. And then we got Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and many others. and where we are today now with Crunchyroll, Pluto TV, Tubi TV, Amazon, all these places you can see now anime. And now, we have Toho. If you haven't watched the video this week with Toho and J Kids joining forces as one, that's going to allow Toho to bring anime into the U.S. Much faster by cutting out the middle. Actually, they bought the middleman, so basically you'll be able to get your anime fix on your favorites out of Toho probably a lot quicker, and hopefully they'll do their own English dubbing, which that's what we want. We want a proper English dub, even though I do watch a lot of the subtitles. But I like to relax back every once in a while when I don't want to read and watch an English dub. Like the other night, I watched a great anime that I haven't seen in a bit, and it's always been a good one. It's got a lot of fan service in it, and that's the Vandred, the 2 seasons of Vandred. If you haven't seen that series yet, that one is a really good one. It's a good space arc, good animation. I think it has like a little mix of 3D and regular animation on there. And like I said, it has fan service in it. It has a good story. What we have here in this story is an Earth colony that reached out to the stars, basically no longer in touch with Earth. And what happened was something happened that broke off the sexes. The men live on one planet, and the women live on another, and it's becomes to a point where things are exaggerated. You see it just in the first episode alone, just in the opening minutes, where basically they consider women monsters and they devour the men in this. Sound familiar, don't it? But it is a great adventure that basically it has to, both the men and women have to join forces against a greater threat in the universe, and it happens to be from Earth. It's on there. So check it out. It's right now, it's on Crunchyroll. You can get it in subtitled and dub format. On occasion, you could probably catch it on fast streaming on Pluto TV, or Sling, and I believe I think Freeview also is running it as well, and also Plex TV. So let's move on a little bit. And we got some Toonami news. Because there's a major schedule going on. But before we get into the scheduling, let's get the elephant in the room. This past weekend, we saw the last of Uzumaki. Now, I know a lot of people had issues with the series itself. Does it hold up to the original? Is it something different? It's a little bit all above, but also some issues with the animation. Everything from the jockey type animation to someone like said, the JPEG picture falling into a hole. But all in all, when you look back at it, and one thing about, they say, well, you can't make a good horror in anime. I don't think that's not really right. There has been some good stuff out there. As far as it being really, really scary, there still needs some work on that, but there are good horror out there. Next week, we will be discussing that, so stay tuned for that. On Halloween, we'll be discussing a little bit of horror anime. But the overall, episode 2 and 3 it had the issues. One was excellent. Episode 1 was excellent, and episode 4 basically wound everything up, and it gave it a really good ending to it, not to what people were expecting it to be, not the lost ending onto that situation, but overall, it is an ending. It is overall, it is a good story in itself. Jutito, there is a live action version that is available out there, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Retro Crush has that, so do check that out. It's the one that's like I believe it's from the early 2000s. I'm not certain on the date on that. But it is out there for all to watch. Speaking of Uzumaki, if you happen to be watching this weekend, you haven't caught Uzumaki yet. If you don't have Max, because you're able to watch it in Max English and subtitle format, this weekend on Toonami there will be a marathon starting at midnight Eastern on the weekend, which you'll get all 4 episodes back to back. Besides the Uzumaki marathon, you'll be getting back to back episodes of My Hero Academia. Of course, they'll probably repeat the 4 episodes of Uzumaki around 3:30 a.m. because there's no listing for after that. So that's what we're going to be getting for this coming weekend. So be sure to check it out on Cartoon Network, Toonami, Uzumaki Marathon, and then 2 back-to-back episodes of My Hero Academia. Well, we're not switching gears yet away from Toonami. We're going to continue a little bit more because there's a lot more to discuss. Basically, not this weekend, but the next weekend after the Uzumaki Marathon, there's going to be some lineup changes for the next 2 weeks. And the first weekend in November, because there's going to be a daylight savings time. We fall back. It's the end of daylight savings time, so there's a 1 hour differential. So there's a weird schedule that's coming up. But there's going to be not 1 but 2 new features that's going to be added to Toonami that weekend. The first is the WB's animation Invincible Fight Girl, this was shown at San Diego Comic-Con and the last Animation Comic-Con. It's sort of like a wrestling type of anime. This series was created by Justin Gordon Montgomery, who was also responsible for DC Superhero Girls. Like I said, it's a wrestling one. It's not something that would be on my list to watch. But if it turns out to be really, really good, I might catch it later on. But also, we have a return to a popular one, which I need to start, is Blue Exorcist. Blue Exorcist is returning to the lineup. That will be on next weekend. That's November 2nd. At the midnight hour, we're going to get 2 episodes back-to-back of Invincible Fight Girl. At 1 a.m., Blue Exorcist. 1:30, One Piece is thrown into the lineup. At 2 and 2:30, My Hero Academia. And then with the daylight savings times changed over, then we fall back, which will be 2 o'clock again. 2 o'clock Eastern time. We'll get 2 episodes. They'll be repeating the 2 episodes of Invincible Fight Girl. And at 3 a.m., of course, we will get the dub version of Rick and Morty, the anime dub. Now, on November 9th, we're going to go 1 more week on the Toonami schedule because there are, like I said, there's a lot of changes that are going on at Toonami. There are new shows that are coming in. And there is 1 more being added on the following week after that. It happens to be pretty good because I've already gone through most of the episodes, and I believe we're getting another season of it. Now, there are, I believe, 2 seasons available. And the series is called Mashable, Magic and Muscles. If you haven't seen this one's pretty funny in itself. Think of a world like Harry Potter, where everybody's got magic, except one person. And basically, this particular young person is very strong. And he uses his strength instead of magic. And it kind of gets into an insanity that goes on through the entire series. It is well worth the watch. It's by Aniplex of America who's putting this out. The first season will be airing right now. There is no talk of the second season. When the second season will air, that'll probably be delayed because they'll be switching in something else. But looking on the Toonami schedule for that weekend, that's November 9th, we will have at midnight Invincible Fight Girl. We'll have an episode of that. At 12:30 a.m., Mashable. At 1 a.m., The Return of Blue Exorcist. At 1:30 is One Piece. 2 a.m. is Dragon Ball Z Kai. 2:30 is My Hero Academia. And at 3 a.m., Rick and Morty, the anime, the dub version of it. And, that's one thing about anime and Toonami, they've always held the forefront when it comes to it. They've always kept strong. I mean, we do have the 5 p.m. Toonami slot on Friday evenings, early evenings on there still. It is well worth the watch. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that have never seen a Dragon Ball. They've never seen Galaxy Express. They've never seen Pokemon or Bleach or Rama Half. Now that we're getting the pushback with Rama Half, which I want to take that moment again, and I'm really pissed off at how some people out there are trying to use Rama Half as a political platform for transgender rights. You have to understand one thing. One, stop using it as a political talking point because you don't understand the story. The story itself is about a boy who gets cursed. He doesn't want to become a woman. He fell into a pool that magically changed him into a woman every time he splashed with cold water. It takes hot water to change him back. But remember, it's not the only character that has the ability to do this. You have the father who changes into a panda, and they haven't introduced, I forgot the name of the other character, but there is another character that's going to be introduced, and he has the ability to change into a pig. I mean, this is a really hysterical series. If you have never watched this first, a lot of people are touting it as the first harem type series. It's a really thin line to call it that when you had where other people call Tenchi Muyo the true first harem anime. But, like I said, there are a lot of, you can call, you can go back in history and look at a lot of the anime, the way that they were built upon and call them harem animes. Because, you always had a hero of the story that's always inundated with women around him at all times. And, that's a lot of anime out there that you could say that same thing too. But still, not knocking on Rama Half. Rama Half is the original, and we're talking about, is really, really good. Jury's still out on this one. I mean, the anime is pretty good. The music is good. It has some of the original elements of the story itself. And I do enjoy it. It is a really... the first couple episodes have been really, really good, but it's still lacking certain things. But hey, listen, I'm waiting for Shampoo to jump in. That happens to be one of my favorite characters in the series is Shampoo. We'll wait till she gets into that. And you may ask yourself, how am I faring off with the other anime? Dan, I've been enjoying very nicely. It happens to be very, very good. Like I said, Rama Half, I've enjoyed so far. Artifudo, at the time of this recording, I haven't hit the second episode yet. First episode's really good, and holy shit, I can't believe he built an airship. Now we got a giant airship. Not to give it away, but I had to. They got, because if you're familiar with Artifudo, he has the ability to build things, instantly. He has built high weaponry, including missile launchers and stuff like that, high-end guns. He's built ATVs, motorcycles, and submarines. He has a sub also. I forgot about the sub. Now he has an airship, which that one Oh man, that just that first episode alone was really really good. But we'll see what happens with Artifudo. Um, I'm still not finished with Oshinoko because I hadn't had a chance to get back into it. Sometimes when you get really busy with all the new stories we're doing here, you end up getting lost on that. Now, ReZero, I am totally up to date. I am waiting at the time of this recording. I'm waiting for the new episodes. When this airs, the new episode will be coming out at that time. The first three episodes were really, really good. I did enjoy that. I just finished Konosuba, which, Konosuba, you got to knock into it. That it is funny as hell on that. Demon Lord Retry. I started it, and it's hard for me to get through an episode. I mean, the first two episodes alone are just recaps and this bizarre thing where they're showing him in his real universe before. I don't know if it's before he transported or maybe he transported back, and some of their faces are blurred up for some weird reason. Like I said, it's going to take me a while to get through that. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it yet because I don't think anybody else knows that this is out yet because I haven't, like I said, I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet. I just finished also No Longer Allowed in Another World. That one's kind of out of the box for me. And if you haven't caught this one yet, discussed it before. This is a story about a guy who, with his lover, decided to self-delete themselves in the real world. And they were transported to a fantasy universe, but they were separated. And the thing about it is that basically there are heroes that come to this universe, but a lot of them turn to evil, supposedly. And the thing about it is all these heroes have different powers, and they use the powers against people. And the thing is that this particular, and they call him Sensei in this, he's sort of a writer or a poet or something like that, and he uses that against the villains. And and it's like, well, how the hell that works? But there are some fight scenes they're really really good. Some of the fight scenes are good, but he avoids the fight. His fight is with the pen. They always say the pen is mightier than the sword. This series kind of puts that into emphasis. It's also kind of weird that he gets dragged around in a coffin. It's sort of like if you ever watched the original Django series of movies, the Franco Nero ones, not the Jamie Foxx one. Franco Nero is like, I believe in the very first movie, is dragging a coffin throughout that. And it sort of like reminds me of that. But the difference is here, Sensei is inside the coffin while the other people around him are dragging it across desert. But not to, I'm sorry, we're going to have to spoil this one. Toward the end of the series, he sort of gets this like coffin roadster, which is really hysterical on there. But throughout the whole series, he's still trying to self-delete himself. But it's kind of funny because, he has all these pills and stuff like that, which, again, give away a little bit of it. He helps someone that gives him a wish and gives him the ability to have an endless supply of these pills. So he's drowning himself, but he's not able to self-delete himself. In a way, it's kind of funny to the point, but his power, and I'll tell you this, his power is literally just to write the story of the person and their issues, because each one of these villain heroes has a story behind them. And when he finishes it, he tells them, I can't put this out. He tears it up, and they magically get transported back to the original universe they came from. And sort of like toward the end, you have to stay through the credits on most of these. You get to see what happens to some of these characters when they get returned to their universe. Now the other one is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Damia. Damia for me has been really good. Now a lot of people trying to make comparisons to that and GT. In a way you can, but I don't think that this is what Toriyama wanted as far as this particular series and the way things are going. And the thing is, he's added a lot to this, and that Goku has to go to the demon realm. If you're familiar with the Buu saga, you had Deborah, the demon lord there, the demon king, basically, who was in that, and he was devoured by Buu in that. So that's left a sort of a hole in the demon universe, which one of his other minions has now taken over and has kidnapped Dinde, and they've taken him to the opposite universe and has turned everyone that could be a challenge to this new demon lord king has been turned to children. So you have pretty much everyone. I mean, Boo, even Mr. Satan. Mr. Satan, the young, is hysterical on there. Master Roshi. I mean, everyone across the board is now kids. And the thing is, now he has to take a trip into the demon realm. And then that's what people say, well, that's where the Dragon Ball GT comes in. I don't think that's going to happen. And looking at it and the way that this is put together, this is before Super. This is definitely before Dragon Ball Super. I think this is just a little bit after the Buu saga. I think it's before, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's before the World's Tournament after the Buu saga. If you remember, after the Buu saga, there was another World Tournament which introduced Ubu, which is the reincarnation of Kid Buu, because Goku wished him to come back as a good person, even though we have Buu as himself, and they wished that everyone would forget Buu. So we have Buu and Ubu. Not giving that away on there if you haven't seen this, but we haven't seen him in Damia. So I would assume that we haven't seen Pan. So we would assume that is she not born yet, or is she born? Well, now with everyone being made young again, so that pretty much keeps her either not born or Mr. Satan's daughter to be not pregnant or is pregnant. We're not at that level yet, because I think that does come in Super itself. So I would assume that it's there. She's either in pregnancy or not pregnant as of yet. We haven't seen Gohan to the nature, so we don't know what age he is. I mean, some people are saying that he may have been turned back to possibly either from where he was at Cell when he fought Cell, because he was practically an adult. So if the wish made him young, they said he's pretty much probably that teen Gohan that fought Cell. And we haven't seen any other character situation. Of course, this is before, and also this is before Battle of the Gods. So basically, we don't see Whis and the Destroyer at this point either. So there's a lot to play with. There's a lot to play with this. But the animation is superb. It is fantastic. I love that they brought back the extending pole, which we found out, where is it? Where's it go? Goku's extending pole, where's it been hanging out? Well, it's been holding up Master Roshi's laundry for this point. Oh, and the other half is that Krillin still has his hair, so we definitely know we're not into Super at this point. But like I said, the extended pole was holding Roshi's laundry. And it's funny the way Roshi's look very young. He looks cool at this point. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I think with this series, there's still some questions that need to be answered, but I did enjoy that the new Demon Lord King, didn't get the 3 wishes. that there was a rule, and I guess Toriyama had this rule that we just didn't have, that we didn't realize from the last time, that basically they couldn't have it because they've never used the balls before. So this is their first time using it, so they don't get that privilege of 3 wishes. So I did enjoy that point. And of course, you have all the other characters that are going to come into play next with this. Episode 3 will drop if you're watching this video on the 24th or 25th? On Thursday at 6 p.m. Friday will be the new episode of Dragon Ball Damia. I look forward for that. Now, let's get into this. Sometime next year, there's another anime that's coming out that's anticipated on there that looks very interesting. It happens to be called The Monster That Wants to Eat Me. It's based on the manga, which was they said it was pretty popular on there. I haven't heard it myself, but I've heard some people talk about this one. It's from sorry if I mispronounce this, Nakakawa. It's known in Japan as Washi Otabi Hitu De Nashi. Trying to get my Japanese in there. So now there is no concrete date for this. It's supposed to be coming soon. There are some posters. There was stuff at New York Comic Con and the Anime Expo itself that was promoting this. It's through Yen Press that put this out. And let me give you a little bit of the plot. I'll get this directly from them. I've come to eat you, so softly utters the mermaid Shuri as she emerges from the sea and takes a high school girl, Hiniku, by the hand. Hiniku lives alone in a town by the sea and possesses an unusual, delicious body that is irresistible to nearby monsters. To ensure that she matures to the best condition, Shiro seeks the protection of Hinako. Also, someday she can devour every piece of her. What will become of Hinako's feelings as this looming unjust death closes in on her? And that's a pretty good premise. That is a good sort of horror premise, that there's this monster, creature, mermaid, however you want to call it, wants to eat you. But you're not ready yet. You haven't fattened up. You're going to say, you haven't fattened up yet. There's not enough meat on the bone yet to eat you. But I'm patient. I can wait a bit. But meanwhile, there are other monsters who can't wait and want to jump the challenge to devour her. So I guess there are going to be fights and stuff like that for who's going to put this girl on their dinner plate. Like I said, one thing with the anime and manga, there are always some great stories out there. And I know a lot of people criticize these stories and so it's too sexual, like too sexy and stuff like that. Look at the story itself. Like I said, go over and look Gushing Magical Girls. Look at that storyline that basically, there's some bondage and discipline in there, spanking and stuff like that. But look at the overall story. It's about a girl who's infatuated with Sailor Moon type characters to the point that she's given the power to fight them. Not, they want the creature that has given her the power wants her to defeat them. But no, she doesn't want to defeat them. She just wants to fight them, sort of like a game of tag, cat and mouse type situation. Yes, it gets a little bizarre and a little strange from, like I said, spanking to, I think, what is that? One of the girls ended up captured by the Alice in Wonderland character, which happens to be like a young girl who likes dollhouses. She has the ability to make gigantic dollhouses and takes one of them in and sort of put diapers on her and feeds her milk and stuff like that, which is a sort of quirky thing, that there is a bizarre groups out there that does this in reality, that you find that there are people out there who want to dress up in diapers and be treated as children. And I'm talking about adults. There've been movies made based on that. But yeah, this particular story, The Monster Wants to Eat Me, that's coming sometime next year. Probably at this point, depending on how the production is. We'll let you know when it comes out, who's going to be carrying it. This is probably something that's going over to either the Crunchyroll or to High Dive. If it ends up on Amazon, I'll be surprised if it ends up on Amazon. But there's a couple on Amazon I'm looking at right now that I'm going to be starting to look at right now that's coming soon. There's a couple others that are about to pop on their streaming site in 2025 as well. Now, another anime that has been in the crosshairs. If you haven't seen Solo Leveling. Now, Solo Leveling got mixed reviews when it came out. This was a storyline about a guy that basically, for some reason, got these maximum powers that he's been leveling up on. And he's trying to keep it quiet. He's trying to keep himself at as if he was a low-level warrior, and he's fighting all these creatures and stuff like that. And he got these powers by sheer luck, that he was able to survive the major battle that he went through where everyone else was killed. But look, we're looking at a season 2 that's coming. But there is an omnibus movie that's going to be released sometime Christmas, early December. And it is and this is in North America and Canadian theaters. Crunchyroll has secured the theatrical rights. It's going to hit on there. It's going to recap the entire first season. And along you will get 2 episodes of season 2. It's all edited together as one stream film on there. Now, this was originally based on a fantasy novel and webcomic. And, a lot of the fights are pretty good. Now, the thing about it, Young Press put this out. And the thing about it is, and A1 Pictures will be putting out the movie version of this. But the thing about it is, some people had issues with it on its pace and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a good premise to the situation. Is it, top 10? It depends on who you talk to for the year. Like I said, it leaves off. I mean, it does have a big payout to the situation, but I think season 2 will find its fan base. I think it really will find its fan base on there. Hopefully, season 2 will improve on its fan base, but it still does have its fans. And speaking of fans, and we move on a little bit, remember it's Solo Leveling, early December, I think December 6th, they said. But speaking of fan base, a major fan base that's always been there, but I think it needs rejuvenation. And basically, it has returned in some way in a print format. And maybe if this is pushed properly, maybe it will get a remastering of the original 1970s series, because there isn't an English dub, but it is a great series. The last movie it had is in English. You can get to see it in English. And what we're talking about is Galaxy Express 39. Now, the creator of the original Galaxy Express, Leiji Matsumoto, is no longer with us. He's passed away. The reign has been given to, sorry if I mispronounce this, Yusuru Shizamaki, and he's created a new sort of retelling of this. It's called Ginja Tetsuro 39, Another Story, Ultimate Journey, which is Galaxy Express 39, Another Stories, Ultimate Journey. And it was printing for a while, but it stopped. It plans to be returning after 2 years. It's going to be in the December issue of Champion Red Magazine, which would be out soon. The new chapter that's coming out on this, they're teasing out the final battle between Tetsuru and Geisel. If you're familiar with those Geisel, that character in the series, but if you haven't, do catch it on there. The story itself is the retelling of Galaxy Express 39 of the original manga. The story of the anime and manga follows a young orphan named Tetsuro as he travels with a mysterious woman named Maytel through the galaxy on a space train in the hopes of obtaining a cybernetic body. The train stops at many planets along the way, leading to adventures for the two. The series last published, I think it was back in June 2022. Then it ended into a hiatus in July of the same year due to Shizamazi health issues. It originally launched in 2018 with original artwork and design because Matsumoto died in February 2023. And if you're not with Shimazaki familiar with his work, he drew a reboot of another Matsumoto Gun Frontier manga as well. So he's familiar with Matsumoto's storylines and artwork. So it's a good person that familiar with this to continue one of the great animes and mangas of all time. The original series was 113 episodes, which aired from 1978 to 1981, and about the time when I started with anime. An anime alternative premiered in 79, then spawned into multiple movies, special OVAs. The 18-volume manga ran from 77 to 81. It's interesting that, that this is getting a push again. And the thing is that this is a great story. It is a very good story in itself. I mean, you have a lot of characters in this. I mean, you have a boy who wants a robot body, but he goes through so much tragic events to the point that, not to give it away, what his future, as far as some things that are coming forward, as far as his past, present, and future, is going to collide all together at once. The tragedy of the death of his mother in the very first episode on there, if you didn't catch it, because he loses his mother in the first episode. And who is this woman that has taken him under her wing, and they're traveling together as far as that. And you got to remember, this series itself, Galaxy Express 39, was the branching point to other good anime stories, such as Captain Harlock, Queen and Morales. Those were also good series within themselves. If you haven't caught those, I mean, Harlock has had several reboots as far as the storyline. A semi-live action 3D. I think there was a main live action movie as well. But most people who have seen Captain Harlock don't realize that he was a character in another series, which he was a pivotal character toward Tetsuru's arc as far as his character himself, because he grows up in this series. I mean, this is something that, even though it was 113 episodes and a movie and an OVA, you're growing with him as a person. And that's what's great about this series, is what happens at the end, and basically, what he has to go through, the enemies that he has to fight to get to that end game that he needs to do. So catch this on the December edition of Red. It'll be coming out soon. But before we go here, let's throw you a couple of uh, manga books that are going to be coming out uh, very soon in the near future for 2025. This is stuff I haven't read or anything to that nature, but let's throw some out at you. It's good to see what's coming out next year, what possibly might be future anime. Because there's so much when you look at the manga industry and how much they put out, and the reason why they have completely dominated the comic book industry here in the West is because they're constantly pumping out stories, different stories. I mean, Isekai may be the same type of story, but they're able to switch up and change around the storylines. You'd be surprised what they come out next. Then you have the rom-coms. Then you have the sort of the sexy types, fan service types also. Then you have sort of the historical type on there, the horror types. I mean, there's so many types of stories that they come out. I mean, they had an angler one just now recently that's just now coming out, where a guy's like, he wanted to self-delete himself, but he ended up founding fishing. Fishing saved his life. And I'm hearing some people saying that it happens to be good on there. But also, here's some mangas that are coming out for, if you haven't caught it yet, that's in this fall that some people says that they're decent on there to catch. So again, I haven't read these, so I'm just throwing these out at you to catch as well. So those are most of those out are manga are out. The ones before that will be coming out in 2025. Most of them around the spring. These ones for the fall, like I said, the availability most of them should be out before the end of October. Probably some into November. So do catch those. Like I said, it's good to see the stories that are out there that may end up to be an anime. Or maybe end up to be a movie anime. You never know with some of this stuff on there. And like I said, this is the creativity why Japan does beat out the West on a lot of stories, including Hollywood. Hollywood has a problem with this. They don't like it. And this is one of the reasons why they want to stamp out anime and manga. Because basically it has good stories. They don't want good stories. They don't want good artistic expression. I've said this many times before. When you have the United Nations that wants to stomp it out, which is for ridiculous reasons, you have to sit there and say to yourself, mind your business on there. This stuff is good. If you have issues with certain things about cheese pizza or human trafficking, stuff like that, look for within you. Because that's where all the problems are. It has nothing to do really with the anime and manga industry itself. Like Hollywood, there are some dark parts of it. Every other entertainment field has that. and the industry tries to stamp it out. Okay, remember that. You got to put to the perspective. Look at the pornography industry in Japan itself. In Japan, they basically blur a lot of the scenes in there as far as the genitalia and stuff, and a lot of the scenes in there. Even though there are sex scenes, which you could see on an non-rated or NC-17 movie here in the U.S. It does happen. Why are you choosing to go fight against Japan on there? They did nothing wrong. They've produced some great stories. And still to this day, people are rewatching a lot of the older ones as well. So here we are at the end of this episode. Once again, be sure to check out the next couple of weeks of Toonami. This weekend, the Uzumaki marathon. Next weekend, with the time change, you have Invincible Fight Girl, The Return of Blue Exorcist. And the week after that, you got Mashable also joining the lineup. And of course, be sure to catch Pokemon on Pluto TV, on the Pluto TV channel. Should be available by now. Also, This Monster Wants to Eat Me, coming soon next year sometime. So do look out for that. Galaxy Express 39, the new revamped version of it, coming December on Red Magazine. Solo Leveling also coming this December as well. And of course, all the manga that we've talked about for April 2025 and for this fall as well. So comment below. Let me know your thoughts about this. Tell me everything you want to say. Have you read some of these mangas? Have you seen some of these shows? Let me know on there. Don't forget to share this video. Hit the like. And see that little button down there? Right there? That's the subscribe button. Hit that right now. We really do appreciate that. If you hit it, it moves us up at the algorithm. I'd like to welcome those of you who have joined us here on YouTube and on Rumble, who have seen this at the 6 o'clock showing on there. Odyssey will get this. But if you're on BitChute, I do apologize on there. There are delays that we're having on BitChute, but we will resolve those soon. Until next week, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight, here on Rumble and YouTube. We'll see you again on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for clicking on this video. You could have chosen thousands of videos, but you chose ours, and we really do appreciate it. Have a good one. Enjoy your anime and mangas. Do take them in. If you're just watching this video and the first time anime manga watcher, take it in. Enjoy it. There's something out there for everybody. So until next time, so long.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel, as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways, listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop, where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.
Fuck all what you think, bitch.